recorded. Okay, everybody, we are excited for week 2 of creating better videos for your teaching studios. We have with us Joel, who has been doing a ton of videos, has thousands of hours in video editing and producing videos. It's been really fun to work with him and the team doing crazy things. We want to start off last week. At the very end, we showed you some sample videos of some things that were kind of cool to do. And Michelle brought up the point, she said, couldn't you show those like at the beginning to get us excited about where we're going with this? And I thought that was a really good idea. I talked to Joel and he said, why don't we show them just a real short one that we did called Spy Song. And because it talks about, we can talk about some lighting with it. So I think what I'll do is I'll just share my screen real quick. And my audio. And I'll go find that Spy Songs. Let's see, I have to go to my audio. Share.
Aaron, all of a sudden I can't hear you anymore.
Really? Check 1, 2.
Now we can.
Okay. Yeah, something happened with the audio.
We can see your screen though.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Whoops. All right. Let's jump into YouTube and do a search for The Pianist Spy Song. All right, this is a fun video that we put together, and we're going to talk about just some different lightings and some different things that we did here just as an experiment. Like almost everything we do as an experiment just to see if we can push the envelope a little bit. So here it is, Spy Song. After the ad, I'm assuming. Are you guys able to hear me? My video's frozen, or it's just spinning here.
We can hear you, Aaron. Is your sharing the audio? Okay.
Learning how to play the piano is more than simply learning
Can
how
you
to
hear
play
the audio?
right notes. Because when you play something, you should know how to make it your own.
I cannot hear it. So just keep me posted, Joel, as we go along. I'm curious about my internet now. Should have like super fast internet. All right, here we go.
Let me just mention real quick on that one. One of the things we did with this spy song is we knew that we didn't show that video is because of the lighting. So what we decided to do is we were in a pretty dark lighting situation. So we decided to leverage that and say, instead of having, unideal lighting, if we made everything really dark, then we can actually make it kind of fit that, that vibe that we were looking for anyhow. So that one was a kind of a dark indoor kind of scenario. There's no windows nearby. And so we decided to go extra dark with that. And that was one of the reasons we wanted to show that. Aaron, also, we talked about queuing up some scenes from that other video.
Yeah, do you happen to have that one?
Isn't it on the YouTube?
I don't think it is. I don't know where you put that one.
Heidi, do you know where the Kushner's video is? Is that on YouTube?
So I don't know if anybody has ever.
It is on YouTube. I think it's on our Piano Marvel channel.
Okay.
Well, let me just let's go do a search real fast. I'm going to share my screen again. Hopefully my sound doesn't mess up.
Actually, Aaron, before you share your screen, can you go ahead and find that video real quick? Because actually there's something I can demonstrate here, even just looking at everybody's videos. So if everybody will look at my video for a second.
Joel, do you want me to spotlight you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm kind of waving, but yeah,
right.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. So if you see the way the lighting is coming in, so what I have on the other side of the computer here is actually a window with a shade. So it's a semi-transparent shade, so it lets some light in. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means, but it's essentially doing what's called light diffusion. So it's instead of having like one point of really bright light, it's spreading the light out really well. Now, actually, Aaron, if we could highlight Cheryl for a second. I want to show kind of a contrast. Let's see, where did Cheryl go?
I'm right here.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah, I can highlight her. Hold on. Okay, spotlight now.
Okay, so did it work?
Spotlight for everyone. Here we go.
So now Cheryl, she has kind of the opposite thing going on in her video right now. And this is just because I noticed while we were watching. So you'll notice that Cheryl has a bright light from the window behind her. And what that does is it makes her face dark in the shot, right? Now, obviously she's not trying to shoot a professional video right at this moment, so that's perfectly fine. But it kind of shows that contrast a little bit, right, of the lighting. So you can even see, just if you look at everybody's videos that are showing right now, you can see all sorts of different lighting scenarios. Now, maybe let's spotlight Josh for a second. Let's see if I try this, replace spotlight. Will that do it? There we go. I've got it. So Josh, he's got multiple light sources going on, right? So he's got a lamp in the corner. He's got light coming from the window in the background. And it looks like, Josh, you've got some light kind of near your face, off to your right side a little bit. Is that right?
But not on the left, because he's in shadow on the
his you see how his left side of his face is a little bit more in the shadow. But he's got these multiple light sources, right, kind of going on, and it kind of creates where you can see Josh's facial expressions and stuff a little bit more easily, because he's got light coming from lots of different directions. So the reason we're talking about this is because of how that light really affects the shot. Now, Elizabeth, if you don't mind, we'll kind of take a quick look at yours as well. You'll see that the way the light is hitting for you guys, it kind of casts shadows on your face a little bit, right? And it's because it looks like you've got a light source kind of up above your head and behind a little bit, or maybe a little bit in front of you. Is that right?
There's also sun coming through, probably your east window.
Yeah. So all of us probably have very similar cameras, but you can see how drastically different the lighting is in these different rooms. Really changes how everything looks.
So Joel, how important, let's say you don't have like a $2,000 camera. How important is lighting, and
Yeah.
what can you do for a cheaper camera?
Yeah, so I would say to that, shooting with a lot of different cameras and everything, if you have your lighting figured out well, you don't need a really expensive camera to have good video shots, okay? The expensive cameras, the main thing that separates an expensive camera from a cheap camera is usually how well it handles dark light. Okay, so if you're going to be out like shooting video, let's say in low light situations, outdoors is usually, you know, that kind of thing, then that's where having a really expensive camera, it really benefits you. But if you are in a controlled environment where you have control of your lighting, you don't have to have a really expensive camera to make that work. And so we're going to show you guys a tutorial, I think later, that actually gives a really cool walkthrough of lighting, and also how you can, even with just household items, really improve your lighting quite a bit. So we'll show that to you guys a little bit later. But I just wanted to point out while Aaron was queuing up this other video, that even just looking at our different videos here, we can see how much the lighting is different.
Yeah. I'm actually not able to find that link. I know you sent it to me at one point, but take a look at, I've got like these little lights here that are just right on my face, and notice what it does to my eye sockets.
Right. Yeah.
And it just changes, just a little bit of light makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So just turning those lights on, you can see the definition and everything in Aaron's face so much more clearly. So what I would say is don't underestimate how much better just even a little bit of lighting can make your shot look when you're shooting a video. And it can really help the students be able to, if you're doing a demonstration video or if it's more for entertainment or anything, just a little bit of extra lighting and making sure that the light is evenly spread out can make a big difference.
Now, since I can't find that video, maybe we'll show it a little bit later. But I did see that you guys had put in a ton of videos, so I want to share my screen with you. Zoom is not liking when I share my screen. So,
Aaron, are you still there?
oh, hold on a second. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah,
All
and we
right.
can see your screen.
Yeah, it took a while for my computer to figure it out. So I turned on my phone. You can hear me through that. And right as it turned on, my computer started working. That's where you got the feedback. All right, I'm also sharing the sound. So let's go to the, you guys remember this creating a performance videos. This is your agenda where we're gonna live. We're adding notes for today down here at the very bottom. We're going to talk about the angle, lighting, acoustics, and trimming video this week. We want to go ahead and open up the submit or view video videos. And right on the top, I don't know if you've noticed, you don't actually have to fill the form out to get there. You can just click on this and you can go see the videos that were uploaded. So we had 24 videos that were uploaded this week from different teachers. And I just want to spotlight a few of them. And we'll just look together and see, whoops, I need to say these are all week 1 videos, because you'll be putting in more videos as we give you tips and you start practicing those tips. Elizabeth Zawdowski put hers in right away. She knew what she was doing. Let's take a look at this one. You've obviously done this before. You put in a video so quickly. Are you still able to hear me, Joel?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just the video trying to render.
Are you're connected to the right router?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
A fast one. Okay, we'll stop it right there. Very elegant playing. She's obviously studied many years with piano performance. Let's talk about the video. Joel, what's the first things that catch your eye on this?
Yeah, so Elizabeth did an interesting format here. The first thing that sticks out is you can choose to shoot videos in portrait or landscape. She chose to do portrait on this one. And I think that's really interesting. What I would say to that is, depending on what format or where you're planning to deploy your video, that is something you want to think about. So for example, if any of you are familiar with like YouTube Shorts or what's the other one? TikTok, some of these newer platforms, a portrait view like we see here is pretty common. But now for YouTube, typically we have a landscape where I don't know if you, I assume you probably used your phone for this, Elizabeth, where you would turn the phone sideways and shoot it that way. And then you get this wider picture as you shoot it. So
I would recommend that too. One reason for that, Joel, is because I'd like to see a close-up shot. And if you turn it sideways, I can actually see much clearer the video. Like you can see a lot more of the fingers.
Yeah, I think, yeah, and that will depend a lot on the angle as well. So I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. It just depends on what you're going for. So it's great that she did it this way so we can see that as an example.
I didn't realize that she understood like YouTube Shorts and how big those are now.
Yeah.
Like what are YouTube Shorts?
Yeah.
That came about because of TikTok, right?
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, and I would just say though, if your intention is to put your video on YouTube, it's probably better to do the landscape, so the wide view. But I think it's great that she did it this way as well.
That's
the
great.
only next thing I would just say having to do with the lighting, you can see, for example, in this shot that the sheet music, the way the light is hitting that sheet music, it's so intense on the sheet music that you can't see the definition. So that's what's called a blowout. The color is, or the brightness is so intense right there, it blows it out in the camera image. But then if you look in other parts of the shot, let's say kind of on her right side, you'll see everything's kind of dark. So probably what would have helped this shot a little bit is if she had a light source of some kind
near the camera,
shining either from behind the camera or even a little to the left of the camera on her right side. That would eliminate all those shadows we see on her right side. And it probably would also help that blowout issue that we see on the sheet music. So, but overall, really great job.
Really good. What do you think of the angle? I think the angle is pretty good. I've seen some different angles. If I personally, I like to see, and this could be a personal preference, I like to see the facial reactions of my students. And I think parents of my students also like to see like their kids growing up as they're putting these videos out. And Elizabeth's hair here is perfect. But a lot of times when kids have straight hair, it covers their face. So you can't actually see their face, you see their nose. And so I'll get a clip and I'll pin it up, a Brett, and put it. It's weird that I'm a male teacher and I keep Bretts around. It's just because I do videos and I need to put their hair back or little hair ties or something.
Now she also does have a windows in the background, and there's light coming from those windows, which normally I would say could be kind of a problem, but because her curtains are thick enough that the light isn't, totally blowing it out, it actually works okay. So those
Not bad.
curtains are toning the brightness down. So
Or shoot in the afternoon.
yeah, sometimes though, shooting with a window in the background though, that can be kind of a challenge, because you don't usually have a lot of control over how much light is coming through the window, unless you have really dark curtains or something like that. But in this case, it worked out okay.
We're not picking it all on you. We're
No,
just,
no, no.
we're just,
Joel and Aaron, I think that also I have too much ceiling, and you can see
yes.
lights from the ceiling.
You know, a lot of
Yeah.
that would be fixed if you just turn your camera sideways,
Okay.
because then what it does is it makes you the focus.
Yep.
Yeah, my husband was telling me that, but I didn't want to listen to him.
It is true.
And I would say again, there's no right or wrong with that these days. I think a few years ago, everybody would have been always saying, oh no, turn it sideways, turn it sideways. But several of the new platforms are encouraging this portrait view. So I'm not going to say it's wrong to do it this way. It just depends on, where you're trying to deliver the video. But if it's YouTube, I would say side to side is probably the better option.
And also there's a rule of thirds. Like if you don't know, put your face in the center of it, or where you put your face. We'll talk a little bit about that a little later, because some people have never heard of the rule of thirds. Yep. Let's run over to our next video then.
Nice job, Elizabeth.
Yeah, excellent job. Good work.
Thank you.
We have Olivia Ellis. This one is a really interesting one. Let's see what you guys see on this. I first noticed it's unlisted, so you can only get there with a link. And I think she did that intentionally. She left it open for comments, and I'm the only one who commented. I said, wonderful. Again, we're still having my streaming problem of the video.
Zoom
Here we
is
go.
eating up your bandwidth.
It might be. Okay. Excellent video. Well, one of the first things I see is the lighting. Another one is the angle. It looks like you're recording this from down a little lower, so I can't see the tops of her fingers, and it's looking up at her. I personally prefer it to be a little to the right and coming down at the fingers. The purple light is obviously from Spotlight, and it was intentional. This may be a better setting for like a live performance than a video performance with that lighting. Joel, what are your thoughts with the audio? So the audio is very different than Elizabeth's video.
Yeah, and coming through Zoom, it's maybe a little harder to tell exactly, but I think what we're hearing is a more reverberated kind of sound. That has a lot to do with just how big the space is in the room and how far away the microphone is from the piano. So in a room like a stage, it looks like she's performing on, and I obviously from this shot you can't tell exactly like how big the rest of the room is, but just from hearing it, it sounds like it's a little bit of a larger room and the microphone is a little farther away. So you're going to lose a little bit of clarity in the sound because of that. So when you get the microphone up closer, whether that's, from if it's a cell phone, of course, you may not have a lot of control over that. But if you have a setup where you're using a external microphone, it probably would be good to see if you could get it a little closer, so that it can hear more of the sound directly from the piano and less of the room noise. But again, it's a live performance, so or it seems to be, at least. I might be wrong. And so sometimes you don't always have control over all of that stuff either.
Easiest, cheapest solution here is get your camera closer. Also, with the reverb in the room, if you put pillows on the ground or bring a couch into the room, you would be shocked how much that changes the acoustics. It'll take out a lot of the reverb that's messing with the audio. Couch cushions. Just throw a few couch cushions in and see how it deadens the sound. I do that all the time. My couch right now is missing cushions because I got them in the other room where I record sometimes.
Yes, anything that's soft like that. If you're trying to get a good audio recording, pillows, blankets, curtains, anything like that, couches, when you put it in nearby where you're recording, it dampens the reverberation that you would get otherwise from those hard surfaces like a wood floor. And it makes it so that sound doesn't bounce around the room so much. And that allows you to get a cleaner sounding recording. So a lot of times if I'm trying to record something that's really clean, a carpeted room is ideal. If it's like got carpet and curtains and, you know, soft things like that, then I can get a much better recording than if I were, you know, in a large hall or a bathroom. I mean, sometimes a little reverberation is nice, but it can very easily get out of control as well. So, and you can always add reverb to a recording later on, which is more of an
post-production.
You can always add reverb, but you can't get rid of it if it's baked into the recording. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The more clean the recording is from the beginning, the more options you have to tweak it to what you want it to sound like.
Okay. Let's look at Mandy's performance here. Let's see how long this one takes. So this one looks like it's been taken from behind her. And we've already talked about the angle. This piano may be in a really awkward spot, like a tight spot, and maybe she couldn't get a better angle. It looks like if she shot it from the right side, she probably could have. I like the hair coming in at the beginning. Okay, very good piano performance. I like a lot of this video. The things that stick out, like as a piano teacher, you notice a lot of times when a kid comes in and plays a song, they do 100 things right and they play one wrong thing. You don't point out the 100 things they did right. You point out the thing that stuck out to you. And so this is a practice in finding things that stick out that could be improved. Honestly, my first thing was the angle. The second thing was there's a pair of scissors on the desk, and I start looking at the desk and be like, look at all this stuff behind her, and my eyes kind of get distracted. So I would recommend cleaning up your room, finding a spot that's a clean look that's not going to have a lot of distractions, unless it's intentional. If it's intentional, then yeah, go for that. But just know that some of those things will distract the viewers. On this shot, I personally would take that camera, put it over around the side where that lamp is, kind of next to the scissors, but even a little closer to the lamp, and try to get it from that angle. See if you can get her face in it. That's where I would go with that. Really good sound though. You notice the sound was a little different on this one, right? I don't know if there is a carpet on the floor on that one. Joel, do you have anything on this one?
Yeah, no, Mandy, great performance. Really nice job with that. Yeah, I think my guess is the audio probably sounds a little better because the room, she was able to get that microphone closer to the piano, and that probably helped a lot. What you'll notice about this shot when it comes to lighting, and that's again, a lot of what we're talking about here is the lighting. notice how most of the light in this shot is all on the other side of the room from where the camera is. So what it means is that we see the wall really well, but we don't see her and the piano as well. Also, it's just kind of a, because it's a shiny piano, the angle is kind of funny, and it just makes it so that like in the music stand, you can see the reflection of the ceiling coming through there, right? Which is, again, these are not like, these are just fine tuning things. These are not like big problems, I don't think.
Kind of cool. I can see what lamp she has in the ceiling.
Right, you can
from the
actually see the light
reflection.
source. But I would say if you could, or even if you know, Aaron suggested moving the camera to the other side, that's one option. The other option would be to get the camera a little higher and point it a little bit further down towards the hands and the keys, so you can see the full keyboard. And then
You might miss her face if you do that.
I think you, if you just move it a little bit, I think you still have the face.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe you have to move the camera out just a foot further back to capture all that. And then instead of having think of it this way, like in this shot, the wall is really well lit and everything else not so much. And think about switching that to say, well, I want the hands and the person and the piano to be really well lit. The wall doesn't need to be well lit, right? So it's almost like switching that opposite, so that it really then, as you're watching the video, it's going to draw your eyes. You know, Aaron mentioned his eyes were drawn to the scissors on the table and the stuff in the background. And it's not, you know, he was like, well, you could clean it up. And yeah, that's one option, but it still doesn't change the fact that the wall is the best lit part of this scene. So instead, think about switching that lighting. And if you did that, chances are nobody would have even noticed the scissors, for example. So just a thought on that.
Excellent. Yeah, great video. We love that.
Yeah, I liked
love
it.
Bonnie. Vicky put this video out. And we sit and twiddle our thumbs. Oh, by the way, on that last video, I was sad that I couldn't see all of her fingers on the left hand. Like I wanted to see what her left hand was doing, and I could only see the right. Okay, we've seen this before. It's a portrait view. We've seen this angle. I'm missing some of the keys, but I don't know if her hand ever gets up here, so we'd be missing her fingers. So it's not a bad angle. I would personally want to go a little higher and to the right, like 3 inches up and 3 inches over to the right for just a little bit better angle on her face. The lighting is actually pretty well lit. The acoustics, I think has carpet, lucky you. As far as video goes, that's great. You spill milk, not so great.
I wouldn't mind seeing a little more light on her right side, but again, just because if you look at what's the best lit part of the shot, it's the wall behind her. Yeah, and so a little more light coming from that right side, or shining on her right side there, would just help make her more the focus of attention on it. But really great video.
And she did something that nobody else did so far. Look what she did at the beginning.
Yeah.
She put this little clip.
Little video editing going on.
Little video editing. Vicky, how did you do that? What software? I don't know if Vicky's in. Vicky might not be in this.
I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hi, Vicky.
I have video editing on my camera. I mean, on my computer. And I just played around with it to put the title there. I also played around with the video to clip. I had 2 starts.
Oh, okay.
I started twice. So I clipped the first where I messed up the beginning. I also trimmed a little bit at the end where I went over to the camera with a goony look on my face and stopped the camera. I clipped that and I tried to kind of trim it. I cropped it because
Yeah.
on my computer, there is video editing software on my pictures. So I just played around with it. When I had the video downloaded to my computer, it said edit. So I tried editing what was possible, and I could crop it just like I could crop a picture. So I
That
tried
is
cropping.
phenomenal. Vicky, you're ahead of the game.
Well, I was playing with what was on my computer.
That's how we learn.
And
Yeah.
so
Play with things and
That's
just
great.
what it can do. It was a really good. I mean, that opens already the door to you being able to do more edits. I was going to mention that on Elizabeth's video. You notice she didn't trim any of that off. She walked up to the camera, hit the start, walked back to the bench, and so she just put it, and that was the assignment, is like no editing, just put it in there. So there is actually a way to trim the video on your phone without having any video editing software. And so if you go in to edit the video on your phone, you can actually trim it, and you don't have to take it over into video editing software, which might be something for those of you who don't want to get into video editing. You could just trim the front and the back. I will tell you, I did a trick that's even easier. I had somebody come in and like I'll have a student come in. Let me show you one of them here, an example of this. Mason Gonzalez. You can see some of these videos. Every year I do something a little different with him. He always likes to wear little costumes or something. But what we do is when he first starts, you notice it goes right into the music. And I don't have to trim it off because I did a countdown. So what I did is I said, okay, Mason, I'm going to count off for you backwards from 3 to 1, but I'm not going to say 1 in my head. You just have to say that in your own head. And I'll say 3, 2, and then I'll punch the button. And he knows the video's recorded or started recording. And so then I don't have to do any trim. And then I will hit the stop button when he's done. Sometimes I'll have the kids announce it, like, my name is Mason Gonzalez. I'm going to be playing this song. And I want to show you a quick video of that. And I think it's adorable. This is some of the, let's see if I can get Miley Garner when she was really little. And show you an example of the difference between somebody announcing what they're going to play. Here's my daughter, who's now 13. I think she was 6 or 5 in this video. She couldn't quite reach the pedals. And here we twiddle our thumbs while we wait for the rendering. He didn't say anything. And then at the end of the video, we'll see what the end of the video looks like. She looked at the camera and smiled. Now you can get away with that as a kid. People think that's really cute. As an adult, do they like you doing little goofy things? Maybe not as much. So it kind of depends on your audience as well.
Aaron, let me mention too, another option that a lot of people don't realize they have with their YouTube videos is you can actually trim your video after you've uploaded it to YouTube. YouTube has an editor that you can use, which when we get more into editing, I think we can dive into.
Yeah, we'll show you those tricks.
Yeah.
Because those come in super, super handy. That was this year. Look at this year. This was, I think, 2013. So this is my very early years of recording. They weren't amazing. My piano sounded bad. The acoustics were bad. The lighting was bad. But I still have these precious memories. I would never take them back.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just mention real quick while that's loading. I would never like, you should always, don't let the lighting and all this stuff hold you back from making recordings though, because just as Aaron mentioned, like even though the lighting's not ideal and perfect in every one of these, he's still really glad he has these videos.
Oh,
You know,
extremely glad.
so you know, don't let it hold you back from recording. These are just tips and ideas of how to improve and make them even better.
Oh, look at the lighting on this one.
Yeah.
This camera was a really old cell phone camera. And this will take forever to load. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Hey, honey.
So I've done some experimenting.
What are you up to?
Nothing, just.
I hope this is one where she actually talks. There's some of my most precious memories because I hear her actually introduce herself. And I wish I would have done that more often. I didn't. So introducing the video, like, my name's Miley Garner, I personally think that's a really good touch, you know, even though before I thought it was more professional to cut that out. I wish I had more of them talking when they're little.
Let me just mention on the lighting real quick on this one, Aaron. So the reason everything is so off is not just because of the light, but you'll notice the light color is very, very red. Now, since today's discussion has a lot to do with lighting, let me just mention that that is what's called white balance. And if you look on your camera, usually on your phone or any camera you're using, there's usually a setting for adjusting your white balance. So what happened in this particular shot is, I think when Aaron shot this, he didn't think to check his white balance. And so the light was already kind of red. The white balance was way off. And so it made everything in this shot very, very red. Had he gone on his camera and adjusted the white balance first, then it would have corrected that before, as he shot the video.
I wish you would have told me that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing I didn't know back then was the hair in the face. Like, I can't see her face. And that's like one of my favorite parts about teaching, is seeing these students' faces. And so I've learned, hey, do your hair in a different way. You can still make it cute and show your face. So those are some of those. Let's see. We won't go through all of these, but I will say, David, this is a great example. You got a link that says something a little different than these YouTube short links. YouTube Studio channel link. Does this one work? Something went wrong. Joel, how do you fix that?
So it looks like David copied the link from within his YouTube account, like his where you manage the videos, and he's the only one that would have access to that. So David, the way to fix that is to go to the video in the player view. So if you went like, you actually so yeah, like Aaron's looking at Studio right now. So you see at the top, it says studio.youtube.com. This is the management area. So to share the video, probably the easiest thing is to just go and actually open the video. So if you like, let's say you actually went to that video's page.
Go to video. How do I get there?
I have to go to content on the left side there, Aaron. Yeah, go to content and then go to, now actually you can get to it from there.
This maybe, though, it still says studio.com. So I still have to go over to this video link.
Yeah, over there, you have the video link and you can copy it from there, or
you play the video and you grab it from here.
You could grab it there, or you can also, there's a share button at the bottom, down below the video. You see that share button?
This little share button here.
Click that. There's also the link is there as well.
and you can share it at a specific spot in the video, which we won't get into.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways to do that, but David, you did put in the wrong link, so I was unable to open it. And you got to be careful when you're sharing your videos and what link you share with them. Here's another one that is a drive link right here. So Ada Corbin, you put in your video. If I click on this, it actually opens it in Drive instead of YouTube. But you've given me permission to view it, so that's cool. This video, here's what happens when you start in landscape and you realize you're wrong and you switch in the middle. So whoever was doing the camera work here had realized what they'd done.
So they started in portrait and tried to switch it part of the way through.
Tried to switch it halfway through, which sometimes it works, but sometimes it does not. There we go. And now we watch the whole performance sideways.
To correct that. But of course, usually it's best not to switch orientations in the middle of a shot like that, because especially on a cell phone, because it can confuse the phone on what you actually want. So in this case, it kept everything in portrait, which of course, here makes it look a little bit strange. Now, editing, you could go in your editor and flip it, and then it probably would look a lot better, but
that's if you have an editor. On your phone, you can also there's an edit on the phone where you can rotate the video. This one, it wouldn't work on because the start of it actually starts one way. So it would start then sideways.
Yeah. But this is all good. And this is exactly why we wanted to have you guys do this kind of exercise. It's practice. It's just getting used to how these camera things work and why they, it's one of those things where, it's like becoming a fighter pilot, right? Like no one can sit here and explain to you how to fly jets. You can't read a book and then know how to fly a jet. You have to get your hands on it, and you have to participate in it, and through practice, that way you get good at it. And it's really the same kind of thing with shooting videos and each time you do it, it gets better and better. I mean, you saw Aaron's older videos, and they were not nearly as good as his newer videos are, quality wise.
Yeah, but some of the artistic things, I've changed my mind after watching both of them, and so now I keep learning something new all the time because I experiment a lot. Now this one's interesting because I like this angle. I can see my face really well. Like the lighting on the keys is really good. But I add something here that nobody else had done this week. And I want to show you what happens if your cameraman, and Heidi was a cameraman this week, goes in and does a little bit of just motion to it. It adds a different effect, which sometimes I like and sometimes I don't. Oh, now it's going to sit and wait again. So tell me what you think of the effect of a little bit of motion. I've watched students watching videos, and I notice they're so used to changing things, and like their attention span is so short that as they see these motion, it kind of keeps their attention a little longer. Like how long enough for this video to start? I don't know. Now that was one smooth camera operator. I have to say that was my wife. She did a great job on operating that camera. So I would recommend that you do a little bit of testing with that and just try and see if you can find some good motions. How do you get it smooth? Well, there's really only one way to learn that, and that's to practice different ways and just jump into it. And then we can talk about that. I would like for some videos this week. Let me go to the things that we've learned. We talked about the angle. What's your favorite angle? We've talked about lighting. Try to figure out some lighting on the side that you're shooting from. We talked about the acoustics. Throw some pillows down on the ground if you have a lot of reverb. And then we talked about trimming the video so you're not walking up to the camera hitting start. Now that one you don't have to do. We could wait until we get into some video editing, or you can try it on your phone because it has a little, I think both Android and Apple have a little trimmer thing that's on there.
Aaron, we did have a question in the chat about the lighting. I did respond, but I'll just mention real quick. Someone asked, or it was Becky actually asked about the lighting and the color balance. That we were looking at that really red video, and she said, is there anything you can do about it while you're editing?
Post-production?
That's called post-production, usually, meaning post, it's after you've recorded your video. And in post-production, meaning your editing phase, you can adjust white balance. You can, there's tricks you can do. I'll just say it's better to do it to get the white balance correct while you're shooting it with the video camera. But if you made that mistake and you know, your color balance looks weird or kind of strange, you know, Aaron's video that we saw, that was a pretty extreme example. Like the white balance was way off on that one. And most modern cameras, actually, especially cell phone cameras, they'll usually adjust the white balance automatically for you. But if you find yourself in that situation where the white balance is bad on your video, you can work with that and adjust it in your post-production editing phase.
So is there anything you can do with lighting as well? Like if you don't have expensive lights, like how to diffuse light, you know how you have some harsh lights?
There's some tricks you can do that will help, but none of them will work as well as just having good lighting in the first place.
Okay.
So it's best to, if you can get this stuff, the angle, the lighting, the acoustics, if you can get it pretty good on your first shot, and the editing and fine tuning is much easier to do.
There's an email you sent me that had some, let me see if I can find this lighting. I think you sent it this morning. Is that something we can share with people? Like a quick tutorial on lighting?
Oh yeah, I sent it to you, Aaron. Right there, it's that third email.
Did you find it? 1, 2, 3.
Sorry.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, I sent that to you. So this is a really great tutorial on lighting that I sent to Aaron. It's only 7 minutes long, and it really walks through some. What I love about this video is it shows how you don't have to have really fancy equipment to improve your lighting.
Maybe I'll just take this link and I'll paste it in the agenda.
Yeah, put it in there. This video is really good for lighting. You could even put it, yeah, there you go.
Home studio, pro studio, no studio.
Okay,
no
put that
problem.
in your agenda at the bottom there.
With tens of thousands of products from hundreds of top brands, you'll have no trouble finding the gear of your dreams at Sweetwater.
Find somewhere.
Monitors, interfaces, software.
How lighting works, and just so you get an idea maybe of what this video is talking about and how to diffuse light. I guess today's a bad internet day. Doesn't want to do Zoom, record, and YouTube at the same time. So yeah, he takes this and just shows you, like, if you put a bag in front of it, what it does to the light, how diffusing works and everything.
And Oh, even just using like literally like a shopping bag to diffuse the light and a cutting board. You can use it to help improve your lighting. It's actually really great tutorial on lighting.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are, I mean, we could go on and on about these. We love your videos that you put in here. There was one here that somebody did a tutorial video. And I really want to spend some more time on the tutorial videos that you guys put in. Can we save those for next week? Will that work for everybody? And then today, your assignment is to get in, learn all the tricks you have from angle, lighting, acoustics, and trimming your video. Oh, you know what? I should add one more, landscape maybe. So that would be like probably right before the trimming video one. So get in there and work on those 5 and submit a new video. I think I'm going to also maybe add some motion for experimental purposes. Now in this one, you're going to need a partner. You can have your spouse help you, or a friend or family or a student, and say, hey, I want you to help with that. Motion is actually something that's very powerful. So start experimenting with just these things from here, and then get back into submit a video, and let's have your link come in here, put your name on it, mark what it is. And this is probably still in the easy category. We haven't really gone into intermediate video stuff yet. I did see some people on the, where is that? I've got an intermediate tutorial video here where they actually do some video editing. You can come in here and look at Cammie's video if you want to there. She did this one on the duet one. That one was some really cool video editing as well. And that's it. Let's go ahead and close this meeting. And then next week we get into where we prepare to get into video editing. And this is when it gets really fun. The audio is one thing that I want to show you next, and we'll do that next week as well. I recorded just different microphones so you can hear the difference between like an acoustic mic on your camera or an attached mic. And Heidi she got another mic that we want to demo next week too. It's a wireless Bluetooth mic. Pretty cool and very inexpensive. If anybody's interested in using that one, we'll show you how it works and if you like it. Does anybody have any questions? Let's just open it up for questions right now.
Well, you're going to talk about sound acoustics next week.
Yes.
Right.
Blankets, or if you can even think about anything that's like a large hard surface, or it could be, I mean, even the ceiling, if you think about it in most houses is a large hard surface. But anything you can do to dampen the sound on a hard surface like that will help. And the more of it you can do, the less reverberation you'll have in that room.
But it would make a difference with the type of camera you use, correct? I mean, I have an iPhone 11, or is there a better one I could use?
I mean, an iPhone 11 has a pretty good microphone built in.
A really good mic.
Yeah, it really does. So, and this goes back to one of the points we made earlier is when I was talking about an expensive camera, and I said having good lighting is actually more important than having an expensive camera.
Oh, okay.
I would say the same thing goes for your microphone and sound. Having a good acoustic environment is going to also be, more important than having a fancy microphone. I mean, because a good microphone in a bad environment is still going to sound not that great, if that makes sense.
I see. Well, that's good, because I've been trying to find out how I can improve the sound.
The other thing that might be helpful next week for you, Pat, is when Aaron talks about that thing that Heidi mentioned, the Bluetooth microphone. Hooking that up to your iPhone, that could be something cool to experiment with experiment with that's, inexpensive, like Aaron was saying. So maybe.
Yeah, some microphones are like, Joel, how much would they be? Like thousands?
Yeah, they can be. I mean, Aaron, you're using what, your built-in mic right now?
No, I'm actually using a Rode mic.
Your Rode mic. Okay. So you might hear a difference then between like my voice. I'm just using the computer microphone. Aaron's voice probably sounds a little more loud, a little more present. Josh, are you using your fancy mic?
Yeah, and it's not that fancy. It's like $100, which I realize, it's not cheap, but it's also not $1,000 microphone. But this is my mic.
Yeah. So even Josh, you can hear when he talks. Every time Josh speaks, it's very clear and crisp sounding. And some of the other people, when they talk and commentate, you can hear it. It almost sounds like a telephone or something, where it's a thin, not very clear sound. So
if you want to hear me talk like this is my microphone, and then if I switch, this is my. Maybe it'll do it. Maybe it won't do it.
We'll let you switch.
Show you my MacBook. I don't know, but it's very obvious.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
We got some feedback. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying a good microphone can't help. It certainly can, but I would try to address the acoustics of the room first and see if that really fixes the problem.
Blankets and pillows.
Yeah.
I have one other question, quick question. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
A tech person who was doing my computer told me that I have my iPhone the wrong way. So because I have a boom and a clamp, but this clamp is tricky to get the iPhone in. I have to spread it and I do it a certain way. If I try the other way, I get the emergency button going. So I don't know if that makes a difference which way that iPhone is.
So the iPhone, okay, the iPhone has two different cameras on it, and most phones do. There's usually a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera.
Yeah.
The better camera is going to be the one on the back. So if I'm trying to shoot this direction, I want to use the back side. If I use this front camera, I'm going to get it'll still be okay, but most of them are going to have the better camera quality on the camera that's on the back side of the phone.
On the high part of the treble of the piano, that camera on the back, does it matter which way that iPhone is?
Well, we were just saying earlier that probably shooting it sideways like this is going to be usually your best option. Unless you're shooting for like TikTok or something, then you might want to shoot it this way. Yeah, in most cases, I would shoot with your phone sideways like this.
Yeah.
Now, it can be really tricky if you're recording yourself, because then you can't actually see if your face is in frame. So
my hands.
So it's really tempting to turn your camera around and use your lesser quality video camera, because you can actually see where you're sitting on the screen.
Right. Yeah, and that would be the one benefit to shooting it this other way, is then you could see yourself on the screen as it's recording, and then you could see everything in frame. But ideally,
the solution is to have a partner shoot the video for you.
If someone shooting the video for you, then that can be their job to make sure it's.
Thank you very much. Very helpful.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. Can you show us a wireless Bluetooth mic?
I will put it on the agenda under resources on equipment. You know where that is?
No.
Okay, let me share my screen and show you.
It's on the agenda.
Let's see, share screen. Hopefully this doesn't kill my thing again. It's having problems.
It's kind of strange.
I'm back now.
Computer needs a restart.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Huh.
Joel?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, every time I switch to sharing my screen is when this happens.
Okay.
Technology, hate it.
All right. You were
Such
going to.
such a nightmare. Okay, so this is the agenda. And this is on the agenda. You can see we give you some tips and then the easy, intermediate, advanced things, the resources, the form. I put all the video links on here. So you can go back and look at last week's, just a clip of it or the entire link. Today, I'm going to be putting on today's performance. I'll do a short one and a long one. And then down here, you will see the video editing software. And right below that, you see useful equipment. And part of those are microphones. So I will drop it into here so you can see just different types of microphones that I recommend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and
Thank
we'll
you
give you a
very
live, we'll give you a live demo of it next week.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, I don't know if you can see me. Let's see here. Can you see us?
Aaron, maybe if you stop sharing.
Let me stop sharing. If I could stop sharing, I would stop sharing, but my Zoom is messed up.
Oh, we
Okay.
can see you.
So we did a test run at my last, played the videos to have them watch and, you know, give their feedback on them. And there was terrible lagging on my computer. So everybody was sitting there and waiting. And I was using Google Meet. And so I'm thinking I better use Zoom is one thing I'm thinking might make a difference. I wanted to check and see if that would make a difference. But I just wondered if anybody had any advice as to how to make it seamless using the video in the recital. We're going to try these things out this week to make sure our recital is enjoyable to watch. So yeah, that's kind of my questions.
I would download all of your files. I don't know if you're watching them on YouTube, but I would definitely download them.
Yeah, they were downloaded. I had downloaded all of them, but pulling up from my downloads folder was taking forever. So maybe if I had them like up in a window, like maybe if I had all the tabs up, so I just click on the tab and it's already up, ready, already loaded, even though I've downloaded it, maybe.
Okay, I do have, I think I put a very excellent solution on the document, but I'd have to share it with you. Every time I share it, my Zoom freaks out.
we can go look at it.
It's kind of hidden at the very bottom, like video project ideas. And I believe on there, it shows a recital that was actually edited. So the videos were like put into one long stream. And then clapping was inserted like a YouTube clapping soundtrack between, and it worked really, really well.
Well, okay. What I'm thinking of doing at the end is allowing rooms for people to go into breakout rooms with their people that they've invited so they can like cheer them on. Great job, you know, that kind of thing. Has anybody tried that?
I have.
That doesn't sound like it went well based on how you're saying that.
It was fine, but it's just not the same.
As what do you recommend? I guess I should say.
I recommend a live concert.
Oh.
But you can't do that in certain circumstances, especially if you have students now across the world.
And Aaron, I put into the chat today that when we were watching, when I was watching your performance today, somebody attributed the fact that you weren't in sync with your playing movement wise, sound wise, and that it could be attributed to Zoom today.
It was Zoom because it is in sync.
Yeah, Zoom sometimes when it plays back stuff, it doesn't always keep the audio and video in sync. And that's one of the potential issues that you run across where you'll have yeah, I mean, I noticed it as well. And I know Aaron has a great fast internet connection, even though his computer's struggling a little bit today. I also have a very fast internet connection, and it was, I don't think the synchronization there was due to, I think it's something to do with Zoom itself, that it just didn't keep everything together. Now,
I have, sorry, Joel, I have noticed that Zoom tends to have this problem when you're the person that like is hosting the call and the person that's using video, like showing the videos. So if you could have a helper or someone else that is showing the video and sharing their screen so everyone can see that, that generally works better than when the host does it themselves.
I want to try that next week for our Zoom call.
Okay.
Does anyone use Rock Out Loud?
You mentioned.
Oh, you were going to
last
try
week.
that.
Yeah, really, the sound is so much better. I play duets with my students. And another factor, I'm not exhausted after teaching a lesson from trying to wait for the, the freezing and the not hearing and the synchronization. It doesn't do that. And it was written by musicians.
I think I sent that to Josh to test it out and then try it with me. But last week was one of those weeks that was crazy.
You'll like it. You really will.
Definitely want to check that out.
Hey, Josh, don't forget, that's your reminder.
You mentioned that you had downloaded your videos and that you were trying to play them that way, but it was having a hard time loading. What I would do in that case is what's called compression. So take your videos.
I've got my editor here. I'm pulling them in so you can hear this.
So one thing you can do that might help, like to smooth out that playback, is to compress your videos after you've downloaded them. So when you shoot a video straight out of like your iPhone or your camera, a lot of times that video file size can be really large. I mean, you might have something that's like 500 gigabytes or megabyte, I mean, it can be huge depending on your camera and stuff. But if you take that footage and you run it through a compression software, you can a lot of times make that video 1/10 the size of the original video, and without really any noticeable decrease in quality. So it may be worth it if your computer is struggling to play those videos back smoothly, to compress those videos, and then it's just a much more manageable file size for the computer to play back that way.
Okay, that's great. Are there any like free options, or is that something you'd need to purchase?
I'm pretty sure there are some free ones out there. A lot of times I use a Mac computer, so I use a software. It's actually called Compressor. I think it's like $50 from the App Store, and it's made by Apple, and it works really well. Adobe has one. I don't know if you guys use any of the Adobe software. But they have a software that can do that. There's a whole bunch of programs that can do it. And I'm sure there are some
Can Camtasia do it?
I don't think so.
But just if you do a Google search for like free video compressor or some of that kinds of things.
Camtasia can compress, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Camtasia, you should be able to do it in there.
If we did it in a webinar from Zoom instead of the traditional Zoom, would that also help?
It could, like, so are you saying like you're playing the video off the computer but broadcasting it? Is that what you mean? Or
I mean, I think Zoom has a function where it's webinar. So essentially everybody can just listen. They don't like participate on their end. They just listen.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if I understand it correctly, but
I haven't tried it.
Yeah. I mean, if your computer is struggling to just play the video in the first place, then that means that you've probably just got a really large file size. The other benefit to compressing it is then it doesn't use up so much storage space on your computer either.
So Anton said that you could use, Mac users can use Cocktail and Batch Video Compress Pro.
Okay, I haven't tried either of those, but I know there's a lot of them out there. So,
YouTube it. Just go on to YouTube and ask how to do it, and you'll find a way.
Compress, look for like free video compressor or something like that, and you should be able to find a bunch of options.
Okay. Someone said Handbrake, and I've used that before on a Mac, and I think it also works on Windows too. But I think that idea that Aaron said about doing Camtasia, like one entire video, that's golden. Like, I really think that's a great idea. So I didn't know if you guys have that already. Oh my god!
And it makes it so you don't have to worry about like editing everything live and managing it. It's just like done at nighttime when you have
great idea.
And then you know it's going to run well. No surprise.
So
recommendations in the chat as well on those you can check out.
Okay, great. So I am using Camtasia. Does it automatically do that, or do I need to go in and?
When we're going to be doing some more stuff on Camtasia later, but since you already know Camtasia, it's under the, I think it's share video, and then there's a size button. You just choose the size.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Make it a
Appreciate
smaller
it.
size.
Awesome.
Yeah, and check, there's a kilobits rate. It'll usually be like, it'll either say bit rate or kbps or something like that. And you might have to experiment with a little bit. Like if you set the bit rate too low, the quality of the video is not going to be very good.
Okay.
But if you, you can try, something a little bit higher, and sometimes that will, you could just export a test and then watch the video and see. But usually you can take those really big file sizes and crunch them down to something quite a bit smaller.
Great. All right. I'll play around with that. Thanks so much. It's great.
All right. Well, we are out of time. I got another meeting I got to run to. So I'll send you guys an email of the link of this so you can go watch it a little later if there's something you missed. And we'll see you guys in 1 week.
Thank you.
All right.
Have fun. Look forward to seeing your videos.